So wait, nice. Today I'm going to take you through how to decline a first declension word. Yay! So our objectives here are propositia. We are going to use Latin terminology to talk about the structure of the language as measured by questioning. That would be us applying our knowledge of cases. Then we're going to identify the cases of a first declension noun as measured by questioning and application. First declension, our very first declension. We'll learn three. What you need to know first is each noun can be written 12 different ways. This is good and this is not so good, right? Of course. In English, we don't have this. We only have two ways, right? So singular and plural. So that's one of the ways. But in Latin, it's based upon the use of the sentence, i.e., subject, possession, etc. And then number, again, means singular or plural. And so the number and the use, there are six uses, the six cases, and then your singular of those six cases and your plural of those six cases are what make the 12 different ways that each noun can be written. We're going to learn how to write just first declension to start with, and then we'll learn second declension. Name some first declension nouns. If you look at your new vocab list, we have quite a few. So I'm going to pause here so you can type in one first declension noun and a second and a third. And you can type in whichever three you want. The three that I put down were Regina, Reginae, which we've seen in our translations, Via, Viae, which is new on vocab 2, Femina, Feminae, also new on vocab 2, and Wila, Wilae. Okay. All right. So, how do you know that a word is in first declension? There's a clue we've seen in the vocab list. So I'm going to pause for a second and allow you to fill in the answer, what you think is the answer for question 3. All right. The AE ending in the genitive, the second word, is what tells you that a word is in first declension. So it's that AE ending that is going to indicate to us that that word is in first declension. So you don't even have to remember that anymore if you know that that second word, as you're studying carta, cartae, indicates first declension. What gender are first declension nouns usually? They are usually feminine, but there are a few masculine options that happen to be occupations. Some examples of occupations would be poeta, nauta, which are on your new vocab list, and then we'll learn agricola. All right, now you need to name the 6 cases in order. So why don't you try it first? In order are nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, ablative, vocative. So those are your 6 cases. Write those in right now. Right. Our first word to decline is aqua, aquae. And in order to appropriately decline first declension, you're going to need to figure out the stem. And the way that you get the stem is by cutting off the AE from the genitive. And so you're left with AQU all the way through. So as you're labeling your notes, AQU should go all the way down. So 12 times AQU, 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 12 times down. Whenever you learn a word, the first 2 words are always there. So the nominative singular, aqua, with an A ending, and then the genitive singular, which is aquae. So those, you'll always know the first 2 cases right away. So if we're going to decline something, you already know the first 2 answers. Next, we have aquam and aqua and the accusative and the ablative. I put those in because we've seen them before, and there's a reason why we will learn them or sooner than dative and vocative. But as you're going down, you can go ahead and write in A, AE, AE, AM, A with a macron, A. Those are your singular endings. Now the plural. You've seen the nominative plural before. So as were translating insulae, terrae, all of those were all the nominative plurals as subjects. So you should have AE. We've seen aquas a couple times, but you should have AE, ARUM with a macron, IS with a macron, AS with a macron, IS with a macron, and AE. Okay. Now we're going to try patria, patriae. Patria, patriae. So again, your stem is found by detaching the AE ending. When you do that, you're left with PATRI. So PATRI is going to go all the way down. This one is a little tricky because the stem and the endings have some similar endings, so that can get confusing. So that's why it's important to just put the stem down first and then do your endings. So AE, AM, A with a macron, A, just like you did on aqua. And in the plural, A, sorry, pardon me, AE, ARUM with a macron, IS, AS, IS, AE. Take a second and get that written down. All right, so now we have to try and see what this can do for us. So once you know your declension endings, this allows you to figure out what case the word is. If you know what case the word is, then you know how the word's being used in the sentence, or you can have a guess about it. So, in the examples, what case and number are the following first declension words? There's an example there for you, which is reginam. So what we do is we see that AM ending. So the AM ending is what allows us to say, oh, okay, I can figure out what case that is. If I go back to my declension, where do I see an AM ending? And we see the AM ending right here. So it's accusative singular. So your correct answer, which is actually already filled in for you, is accusative singular. Now let's try wilas. Wilas. Take a second and put down what case and number you think that is. Again, number is singular or plural. Case, nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, ablative, vocative. All right, I'm going to walk you through how I get it again. So AS ending, scan down the declension. Where can I find it? Where can I find it? AS ending is right here in the accusative plural. So I know that wilas is accusative plural. Next, we have wea. Wea. Take a second and try and answer it. What case and number? All right, to show you how to do it, wea, I scan, I'm looking for the A with the macron. There it is. It's ablative singular, so I know that the correct answer on wea is ablative singular. Now, you might be saying to yourself, what about all of these endings that have multiple endings? Yes, poetis with an is. This has two possibilities. So if you go look back at your endings, where do you see is? We see is in the dative and we see is in the ablative. And so that is the correct answer. So when you have two options, oftentimes early Latin students will ask, well, how am I going to know which one it is? Well, at first you might not, but we're going to learn each of the cases. And as we go through the cases, there will be ways that you can eliminate down to understand which endings those are and which possibilities it could be for cases. All right. So your job, last thing I wanted to show you, and then I'll tell you what your job is. This is what this can do for us. So once we know the case endings and we can apply those case endings in first declension to the cases, then we can see how they translate. And we went over this very briefly our first week, but this is basically the word of the word to or for the word verb acting on the word. By, with, or in the word's a little weird there. So by with the queen, and then queen, exclamation point. I say it's queen because the word is Regina, Reginae. And so that's why this is the example. And then you can see how it's different in the plural. Same cases and same translation, just with the plural ending. All right. So that's what we are going to be able to do once you learn your declension endings. So start learning your declension endings. All right. So your job is finish your application questions. So try out those last couple questions at the bottom of the paper where you identified the case and the number. Then decline your vocabulary list 2 words on the paper. One of them was started for you, provincia, provinciae, so you can see what it's going to look like. Then you're going to turn in these first declension notes on Canvas and start memorizing your first declension endings. Nice work. The end.